This is the new Smart #3, an SUV electric from Smart, which is not really a typical Smart, nor your typical SUV. In this video, I'm going to take you through all of the interesting details of this car because it is totally electric. When you think about a Smart car, you think about a small two-seater, nimble city car. It can't go very fast, it can't go very far, but you can park it anywhere. This is different. It's bigger. You can even go on road trips with it. It's got 62 kilowatt hours of battery. It's got 150 kilowatts charging speed. So this car is made even for traveling. It seats 5 people. It's not really a Smart then, is it? It's 4 meters 40 long, it's 1.84 meters wide and 1.56 meters tall. So it's not really an SUV either, right? It's more sort of a sedan size. I'm not really sure what this car is, but today we're going to find out because today we're going to take it through the electric exam. The electric exam is our own proprietary format where we review a car according to 8 different categories. Each category is assigned a value from 0 to 10. It's all multiplied up, taking into account that different categories have a different weight at the end, and we score the car from 0 to 100. If you want to check out other cars that we've taken through this electric exam, you can do so on our website. I'll put a link down in the description below. So the car brand Smart started out as a collaboration between Mercedes and the Swatch brand, sort of a design exercise, and they created all these small two-seater city cars. So even though this car is designed by Mercedes, it is built in China by Geely. In fact, it uses the same platform as the Volvo EX30, has the same motors, same batteries. That's not necessarily a bad thing. The Smart #3 is available in 3 different versions. Base version has got 49 kilowatt hours of battery, motor in the rear, and it comes in at just under 40,000 euros at 39,700. Next up, we have 66 kilowatt hours of battery and 62 kilowatt hours of usable battery. Again, motor in the back and a price around 42,000. And we have some different trims on the inside, like this one, for example, which brings the price up for this particular version to 49,000 euros. With this battery, it can in theory do 432 kilometers. In fact, this particular version can do 455 according to WLTP because it's got the heat pump installed. The motor gives us 272 horsepower, the same as 200 kilowatts, which in theory catapults this car from 0 to 100 in 5.8 seconds. We're going to test that later on. Top speed is 180 kilometers per hour and it weighs just around 1,810 kilos. Aside from that, we have the Smart #3 Brabus version, top of the line. It's got 4-wheel drive, more than 400 horsepower, and it's a lot of fun to drive. Really sporty feel, it's very twitchy and very nervous. I highly recommend it for anybody who appreciates a bit of spirited driving. From the side, this car looks very much like it was designed by Mercedes, especially if we focus on the back window there, sort of a triangular shape. I think we'll find the similar thing in the EQA. However, if we go down the front, we'll see that this is quite a different story now. The front part of the #3 is exactly the same as the front part of the #1. It's sibling. You'll find a light that runs across the entire width of the car. And these lights here can even be LED matrix lights if you get the right version of the car. That means that it'll turn off individual pixels if you have your high beams on so as to not blind oncoming traffic. In the front, you'll also find a camera that'll help you for parking. You'll find radar, which will help with your ADAS systems. And there's also proximity sensors down there. On the top, we have additional cameras and additional help for our ADAS system, which we'll talk about later in this car. At the top of the windscreen, you'll find additional cameras and sensors for the ADAS systems, which we'll check out later in this video. If you compare this car with the #1, the biggest difference will be here in the back. On the #1, we've got more of an SUV shape where it sort of looks like there's a thing sitting on top of the actual chassis, and that is the cabin of the car, where this flows much better, like a sedan, and we even have room here in the back for a spoiler. All of this should also help with range because this is a little bit more aerodynamic. We look around the back of the car. We got these organic looking sweeping lights. I really like those. They integrate very well into the car and they light run across the entire width. And we also have the third brake light up here just for added security. But where is the button for opening the trunk? Well, they've hidden it and I do like that because less buttons here gives more of a clean look to it. And it's hidden inside the a-hole, I guess. So if we open up, it's electronic, we get 370 liters, which is good for this size of car. So if I walk up to the car with the key in my hand, the car will automatically pop out the door handles, which is very nice. In the back, we have the charging port, rear left, which is the best location for the superchargers, and it charges at 150 kilowatts in DC. Even better than that, in AC it charges up to 22 kilowatts, which is quite uncommon, especially for a car at this price. This means that if you find a 22 kilowatt charger, you can charge the entire battery of this car in less than 3 hours. The key is quite funny. It looks like I just ordered a dish of fried chicken and I'm waiting for this to light up and vibrate so that I know that my order is ready. It's got 3 buttons, open and close, and 1 for the trunk. But honestly, since the car locks when I walk away with it and it opens when I'm up close with it, I don't really need the buttons. So let's check out if there's a frunk on this car. First, we have to go in here and pull twice on a lever down here. That's not really a good sign, is it? Because it doesn't make it easy to access the front part. But if we open up, indeed, we will see that there is a tiny, tiny frunk here. It's just small enough for this kit that'll help you if you've got a flat tire and maybe 1 shoe. I don't think you'll fit 2 in there. It's a total of 50 liters. Right, so we've got to do the range test. Officially, this car can do 455 kilometers, which is the same as, let me just check my notes here, 283 miles. This is according to the WLTP standard. You know, it's quite generous if you compare it to highway driving. Highway driving here in Spain is 120 kilometers per hour. I think it's 73 miles per hour. Now, I try to keep a constant speed. We'll go that way until we're at half battery, and then we'll come back here, see how far we can go. I've got 99% battery right now. According to this car, it'll do 459 kilometers. It's called dynamic, this setting. It means that it'll take into account how I've been driving lately. If I just go to standard, it says I've only got 430 kilometers of range actually. Anyway, we're going to drive it all the way or as close to 0 as we can and see how many miles and how far we can go. What do you think? Put a comment down below. I'm going to do 120 kilometers per hour. It's going to be less, of course, than the official WLTP range. WLTP is not a highway speed range, but let's see. Care for a bet? Put it down below in the comments and let's go. All right, we're out on the highway. We're doing 120 miles per hour. No, we're not. We're certainly not doing 120 miles per hour. Please, police, disregard that. We're doing 120 kilometers per hour, as you can see up here from the actual speed. Funny enough, I have to put the car on 123 because there's a 3 kilometer difference. It's quite normal that there's 1 or 2 or even 3. I've seen all the way up to 5 on this one. I use, well, my phone GPS to track it, but I also use this device. This is a Draggy. This is a high precision GPS, so I know that I'll do exactly the same speed no matter which car I'm trying. Funny enough, I had to go into the settings on the smart driver assistance, and I had to remove the one that says adapt automatically to the speed limit. Because if I do that, it'll just all the time go down to 120, and I want to go at 123. Well, at least according to the car. So it's just directed off the highway. As you can see here on the map, the highway is up there, and I'm over here. It seems that there was some road works going on, so there was a stretch of highway that we couldn't go on. So that is going to reduce my average speed a little bit, but hey, I think it's only like a few kilometers. Shouldn't be a big problem. Okay, I only have 56% of battery left, so I'm going to turn around and go back now. I don't want to end up stranded on the highway. Let's see, if I go to the charger where I'm going to do the charging session, it tells me that I'm going to arrive there with a total of 1% on the battery. Cutting it close, but that's the way we like it, isn't it? I think that is slightly pessimistic because honestly, going back, I think it's a little bit more downhill. So, you know, I'm an optimist. Let's just try. I guess I'll get there. So here's a fun thing about planning a route. So let me just plan a route to the charger I'm going to. Yep, that's the one. It's about 50 kilometers away. And it says I'm going to get there with 4% of battery. Perfect for this test, by the way. Yeah, let's do that. So now it's going to put up an alert saying, not enough battery to reach my target. Well, I do have enough because I'm going to get there with 4%. But I understand that it needs to be cautious. It needs some margin for error. So it's probably going to put up this alert whenever there's 10% or less battery at my destination. However, it also said that it couldn't find any chargers en route. In other occasions, I have seen chargers pop up here. It says there are no additional chargers en route before I get to my destination. Well, I know of 2 or 3. This is where I live, so there are at least 2 or 3 fast chargers right there that it could use. However, 4% is fine by me, and in fact, I think I'm going to get there with more than 4%. Because from here to there, it's a little bit of downhill, and I don't think the car's taking this into account. I think it's just calculating highway usage or something like that. I don't think it has taken into account that I'm actually about 400 to 500 meters above my destination. So it's all going to be downhill from here, so I'm going to spend less energy. Right now, I've got 20% energy left. It says I'm going to get there with 4%. I reckon I'm going to get there with nearly 10%. We'll see when we're closer. Right. Remember when the car said that there wasn't enough battery to get me to my destination and there were no chargers en route? Well, funny enough, look, on the screen, it just popped up a charger right here in front of me, right in the middle of the route. Now, if it actually thought that I wasn't going to get there, why couldn't it have used this charger? This is a perfectly valid, I think it's even 150 kilowatt hours or something like that. I can click on it, if I can hit it. This is a perfectly good, usable 150 kilowatt Indesa charger. No reason not to use that for my route if it thought I wasn't going to get to my destination. It's right there. Strange omission, isn't it? Right, this is my exit. 500 meters, and I have to veer off to the right, and that is where the charger is at. Now, remember, the car initially said I was going to get there with 1% of battery, and then it said 4% of battery, and I said, yeah, I'm probably going to get there with 10. Well, check this out. I have 10% of battery, and this is my exit. So, yeah, I guess I'm better at guessing how much range this car has than the car itself. Pretty good, right? So 10% is not enough. I mean, well, it's too much actually to do my charging test. So I'm going to just drive on a little bit further, try to keep it at highway speeds, and then I'm going to circle back so I can just get well below 10% for this test. Then I'll have a better yet a measure for what the real range of this car is. So we've done the range test now, and according to the car, we've done 313 kilometers, but that is not actually quite accurate, because if I look up at my high precision GPS, which I prefer, it's actually 309, 4 kilometers of difference there. We've still got 8% left on the battery, and we had 99 when we left. So we've got to add another 9% to that, which means that we have a total range of this car in the driving conditions I've done today, which has been highway driving at 110 kilometers an hour, 68 miles per hour for you that use that system. Total range, 100 to 0, 340 kilometers, same as 200 and I think it is 11 miles, 211 miles. According to the car, it uses 18.8 kilowatt hours to do 100 kilometers, or the same as 188 watt hours per kilometer, or the same as 303 watt hours per mile. I don't think that's a bad result at all, taking into account that this is quite a tall SUV. Well, it's quite tall for a car, maybe not tall for an SUV. So now what we're going to do is a charging test to see how much time we're going to have to spend at a charging stop to do another 200 kilometers or another 120 miles. It's my standard distance between stops for these tests. Let's go do it. Alright, so I've just plugged in to this Thunder charging station. This can charge at 360 kilowatts, and the car's maximum speed is 150. So the limitation will be on the side of the car, not the side of the charger. This is one of the fastest chargers we have here, and Thunder is collaborating with me on these videos because they do have the most reliable and some of the best charging systems here in Spain. If you're traveling to Spain, I do recommend that you download their app, or you can just pay by credit card, or maybe you have a roaming operator that'll help you pay for the charge here. They're really quite flexible in the way to pay for the charge. So I'm plugged in. We spent 18.8 kilowatt hours in order to do 100 kilometers. So my standard test is 200 kilometers of range. How long time will it take us to charge then? 37.6 kilowatt hours on this here car. If we do that, then we'll know how long time we have to stop at each charge to do another 200 kilometers, another 120 miles, which is a reasonable, you know, distance between stops. So if you're going on a long haul, you do long haul in the morning, stop for a snack or something, and then you keep going another 200. Okay, we've plugged the Smart into the Thunder charger. The charger can do 360 kilowatts. The car can supposedly do 150. Our goal is to charge 200 kilometers of range, which with the efficiency that we got today is equivalent to 37.6 kilowatt hours. Let's see how long time it takes for the car to charge that. By the way, let's just see how fast it's charging now. It's charging at 156 kilowatts, 6 more than the car's supposed maximum. Good stuff. That should really cut down the time for us to charge. It's already charged 10 kilowatt hours and we've only been here for 5 minutes. This is the most stressing part about being an EV YouTuber. You gotta like plug it in and record and do everything really quickly because these chargers don't last long anymore. They just go like that. I go to the loo, I have a snack, and the car's full. So I'm at one of the more than 100 Thunder charging stations you'll find here in Spain. In fact, you'll find several in other countries as well. They just started expanding into Portugal, into France, and hey, watch out, they might come to a city near you. If you're traveling Southern Europe, this is a great place to charge. They've got fast chargers, they're reliable. You've got 5 different options for charging. You can just use your credit card. You don't even have to install any app or anything like that. But if you do install the app, there's a subscription that will take down the cost per kilowatt hour when you charge there. They're reliable, they're fast, and I thank them very much for promoting themselves on this channel. Okay, I guess I have to speak up. 18.8 kilowatt hours charged in the first 8 minutes. That's how long time you have to stay here if you want to charge just 100 kilometers. Okay, we're at 50% state of charge right now, and it's still charging at 100 kilowatts. Okay, we've done the 37.8 kilowatt hours of charge, and we're still charging at 75 kilowatts. It took us exactly 20 minutes to charge 200 kilometers. 20 minutes, that's no time at all. That's a coffee, a wee, and maybe a snack, and yeah, you're done. Okay, we're done with the charging here at the Thunder station. Now it's time to move the car. Let's see how it does on the open roads. Let's see the acceleration and handling. So listen to this. Do you hear that? That is the speed warning. I'm going over the speed limit, or at least the car thinks I'm going over the speed limit. It's quite random what speed limit it puts on screen sometimes. Sometimes it reads a signal wrong or something, and then it goes bit, 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 which is thoroughly distracting while driving. I'm just going to stop now. So this is a EU requirement that all cars by default, every time you enter them and every time you turn them on, should have this feature enabled to warn if you're going over the speed limit. However, I think it's incredibly annoying, so I turn it off every time I get into the car. And here's how to do it. You go to the little car symbol here, you select driver assistance, you go to assistance, and then somewhere down here you have to find speed alert. Sorry, I've got my interface in Spanish here, so it's a bit difficult to translate. I have to put it on visual instead of visual and audio. Now there's an icon here that says that I can actually turn this off automatically using this round button here, and it's explained so in the text. However, that does not work, so I do have to do it through this menu system every time I get into the car, which is a little bit annoying, to be honest. Let us check out how fast this car actually is. It is 0 to 100 officially 5.8 seconds. I'm going to use the Draggy, which is a high precision GPS. You can just put it on top of your car. It's a magnet, and then it will connect to your mobile phone. And then it'll connect to your mobile phone here, and it'll tell me exactly 0 to 100. Here we are. Straight road, no traffic. Draggy's reset. Let's go. Oh. Nice punch. I like it. And that's 100. Let's see how we did. I have a good feeling about this. Okay, I've done the test a few times now, and surprise, surprise, official time was 5.8 seconds to 100. And the car did it in 5.24. 5.24. That's more than half a second better than the official time. Smart, I think you should update your stats because your car's a lot better than what you let on. Good job. Inside the Smart #3, you can tell it's an SUV because I've got plenty of headspace. I'm 1.90 m or 6'4", and even so, I've got plenty of space above my head. Perhaps it's also because of this glass roof that runs the entire length of the car. It's very nice. steering wheel is big and round. Well, I guess like most steering wheels, but this one is really big. Actually, I like that because it gives me a wide open space to view the screen that's behind the steering wheel here. Whereas others, sometimes the steering wheel itself intrudes into the screen and leaves me blocking my view. Not in this case. I've got a 12.8-inch screen in the middle where I do most of the things I want to do in the car. Sunglass holders up here. I've got a place to hide my cell phone down here, and it's even a wireless charger. I've got 2 USB ports down here. I've got 2 cup holders and another place for a mobile phone. It doesn't charge, so it's just a place you can store it. And finally, we've got this big space here in the middle, which is refrigerated. You can actually turn the refrigeration of this place off and on. So if you want to have cold drinks there, don't put them in your cup holder, put them in this place here. Aside from that, we've got a massive space here beneath the central column where I can store, I don't know, a handbag, a chihuahua, or whatever we want to put there. I'm sitting here inside sort of like a cockpit, like on a Formula One car, something like that. I really feel like I'm in a driver's position and I feel separated from the passenger there. Some like it, some might not. This is quite a big intrusive middle console I've got here. Funny enough, see this here? This is padding for my knee. So my knees are not going to touch this plastic here. It's just going to touch this softer fabric. That's nice. 3 air vents, nothing particularly interesting about those. I've got 2 air vents on the sides. Got a glove compartment. All that's just pretty standard. Got nice rear visibility because the side view mirrors are quite tall, which is good. This here, rear view mirror in the middle, actually surprisingly has a good view out the back. I don't know how many cars I've been in recently where this thing is pretty much useless because there's just so much stuff going on in the back that you can't actually see anything out here. Not so with this one. I also do like that the headliner in here is quite dark. It gives it a nicer, luxurious feel. Now about the materials, they're all quite good. In fact, I do like the seats. They're fabric and faux leather here on the sides. Now here in Spain when it gets quite hot, I do appreciate when it's actually fabric instead of leather on the seats, which just means that they're a little bit more cool in the summertime. They are heated electronically. They're not cool though. Steering wheel's heated as well when you need it to be. However, there is one thing about the interior materials that I'm not too keen on. That's the plastic used on the center console and even up here on the front part of the car. It feels a little bit cheap. Honestly, if you sort of push on it, it squeaks. Which is something you easily do when you're driving. You get your elbow in there or something, and you just hear it squeaking. This here is, it feels like a cheap-ish plastic, and it doesn't do this car justice because it's really well laid out. Now, fit and finish is very good. There's, nothing to complain about. You can really tell that it's built by a company yearly that do build a lot of cars, and maybe it's even the quality control by Mercedes-Benz that's also has this thing sorted. So it is quite good. So overall, it's a nice place to be. Perhaps this thing in the middle is a little bit too intrusive for some. Materials are okay, not this particular bit though, and fit and finish is good. Now let's see how well I fit in the back. As I said, I'm 1.90 m, and if I can sit behind myself, your kids will probably fit in this car too. So in the back of the hashtag 3, there's quite a lot of space, surprisingly so. In fact, I've got leg room, I've got headroom. I never have headroom in these sporty coupe SUV kind of cars because the roofline always goes down. But in this one, I do actually have quite a lot of space. So I can put my head back, no problem. I could easily travel here. If I put down this here, I get an armrest and 2 cup holders. In the front, I've got USB ports down here. I've got a flat surface here, so actually 3 people could travel back here, no problem. Air vents, handle to hold on if the driver is enjoying it a little bit too much. Nice place to be, plenty of space. I like it. Talking about technology in this car is absolutely talking about this massive screen we've got here in the middle, 12.8 inches, and everything is done on that screen basically. Well, nearly everything. I've got some buttons here on the steering wheel on the left hand side for cruise control and ADAS system, on the right hand side audio systems, etc. But most of the interesting stuff happens here on this screen, and it is quite a sophisticated system. It's got loads of functionality. So at the top, I've sort of got a home button where I see my music on the left, the world, some kind of world in the middle. And on the right-hand side, I've got this little animal here, which is the one that will talk to me if I use the voice recognition system. I don't know why. Why not? Up here, I'll get the temperature for today. I don't know why it's not showing me right now. Oh, I have to accept some kind of privacy something, and then it's going to tell me how hot or cold it is outside. I've also got different apps here. So you can actually load more apps from the store here, but you got Spotify and yeah, lots of other stuff that you can get in there. In fact, what most people will probably use is the Android Auto or the Apple CarPlay, which also works wirelessly. So I don't have to plug in my phone. I can just leave it here in the wireless charger and I can pull it up on screen, which is thoroughly useful. If I go to the right here, somebody installed some games on it, so I can stack the containers here. Let's see, how do you do that? Oh, that's not good. So I guess that's good if you want to have something you want to play while you're waiting for the chargers to finish or something. I don't know. Oh, I messed up there. Yes, let's just get out of this game. But basically, if you say that this is a tablet on wheels, you'll be absolutely right. I have a few buttons down here below. One for setting up a few basic things about the car. I've got driving modes, which actually changes the world here. So I got Eco, Comfort, and Sport. And if I put it in Sport, it goes red. If I have the Brabus version of this car, I'll also have an additional mode called Brabus, which makes it even faster and even sportier. There's a very nice camera system built into this car. I've got like all sorts of different views. I've got this 3D view. You can even see the doors open where the camera is placed. You can see in front, see in the back. It's nice, and there's a big screen, some brightness on it that makes it really easy to park. Actually, if you can't park this car, it's not because of lack of visibility, certainly. I've got a heated steering wheel, and I've got heated seats as well. My only complaint about this camera system is when you're backing up, it can be a little bit jittery, so it's not quite fluid. So it goes like tick, 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 and when you're backing up, but hey. Now I also have different profiles, so if your spouse, for example, used the car and is of different height than you, then you can have the profile for each one of them, and the seat and everything will adjust to each one of you. That's very nice. I've now had this car for less than a week, and I've in fact had 2 updates to the system in just that little time. Quite significant updates, all sorts of new features, etc. One of them even added V2L, so vehicle to load capability to this car. That's pretty cool. The Smart 3 has got a level 2 driver assistance feature system installed, which means that it'll stay in my lane and it'll turn if there's a curve and it'll follow it around, and it'll also keep the speed and the distance to the car in front of me. It'll basically do regular driving tasks on the highway, and it has a few tricks up its sleeve. So of course I can change my lane. I don't want to actually do it now because the lorry in front of me just decided to go pull over to the right. It'll also park itself, but not in all versions. It will only do that if you got the premium or the Brabus or the 25th anniversary version or trim of this car. Other versions will not have auto park. The interface for controlling this is very easy to understand. I've got a round button here to turn it on. I've got a button here to turn it off. I can go faster, go slower, increase or decrease my speed or my distance to the car in front of me. And that's about it, but that is really all you need. I get very clear information from the display in front of me, so I know what's on, what's off, and what it can see around it. It's a quite nice system, actually. Now, it goes very well in the lane here on the highway, and I'm very comfortable using it. Later on, we'll try to see how it does on windy roads. It's just not exactly highway, so yeah, let's try that. The driver assistance features on this car are quite complete and works quite well. Now I'm driving on the left-hand side on the highway, which I shouldn't be doing, so I want to go to the right. So I'll just put on my blinkers, and the car itself will, change lanes for me. I'm not doing it. I'm just holding on to the steering wheel for safety. It is still my responsibility if something should go wrong. But it's great. It works really well. It's solid. It keeps me right in the lane. It doesn't ping-pong me around, and it does automatic lane changes. Now, you guys that might be watching this from the US, you think that, oh, it could just initiate the, the changing. Now, you guys that might be watching this from the US might think that this is quite a limited system, but that is basically as much as the European legislation allows it to do. It cannot initiate the lane change without me doing it with the stalk or anything like that. It has to be the human behind the steering wheel who takes initiative on every single thing it's going to do. So really important that it's solid, stays in the lane, and it works really well on the highway here. Good system. I also get really good information in the steering wheel cluster about what it sees around it. It can see that there's a truck there, and it sort of puts a green square around it to show me that that's the one that's limiting my speed. Now, I've done the lane change there, and I can now go back into my lane again, as I should be doing. Good system. Okay, so now we're driving down a nice windy Spanish road. I've activated all of the driver assistance features, including what they call the Smart Pilot Assist. It'll keep me in my lane. As you can see, it's turning the wheel and managing the speed as well. There's some roadworks going on ahead, so the speed is actually only 40 kilometers an hour here. But that's a good test, because we've got quite a sharp curve coming up here, and you should be doing a sharp curve at low speed. So let's see what the car does. You can see it here. They've even been nice enough to put a speed camera up. How good of them. So here we are. You have to really turn quite hard to get around this bend. And it's doing it. No. As you can see, it's stepping on the line. It's not quite capable of following the line exactly as it should. I do have to help it around the bend. See the same thing here again. Not doing anything until I have to. Yep. No. No. The car is not able to go around sharp bends here. So I think we can conclude very easily that this driver assistance features, level 2, is excellent for driving on the highway. It'll keep you on your lane. It can even do the lane changes for you if you use your indicator. But on the windy roads, it's better that you drive yourself.
And here we are at the end of the electric Sam for the Smart #3. A car whose name sounds more like a hashtag than a vehicle, but don't be fooled, this is no social media gimmick. This is a serious little electric SUV with a strong personality. Let's start with the range and efficiency. We got a real-world range of 340 kilometers using 18.8 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. Not spectacular, but definitely good, especially since it clears my personal benchmark of 300 kilometers for being a road trip capable car, so it gets 6 out of 10 points here. Charging. We added 200 kilometers of range in just 20 minutes, which is great, and it peaked at 150 kilowatts on DC. But what's even better is that it charges at 22 kilowatt on AC by default, a very practical feature that not many EVs offer. It also plans routes with chargers quite well, lets you adjust the speed, show useful information on screen, and even has vehicle-to-load functionality. I would have liked a bit more detail on the chargers while planning, but all of that aside, it's a solid 7. Moving on to performance. 0 to 100 in 5.2 seconds is even quicker than the spec sheet promised. It's rear-wheel drive, sporty and genuinely fun to drive. It's got firm suspension, good grip and a lively character, a proper driver's car. It scores an 8 here. Interior and quality. Inside, the interior feels well designed. Most of the materials are good. Most of them. The layout is thoughtful and the whole cabin is well put together. You do see it a bit tight in the cockpit style space, which some people will love, though it's not the roomiest cabin up front. I'm 1.9 meters tall and I still fit in the back seat, so space is used smartly. For interior and quality, I give it 7 points. Exterior and design. As for the exterior design, this is a standout. It keeps a little of the traditional Smart identity, but adds smooth flowing lines, a strong front end, and an overall modern organic look. It's much more refined than the Smart #1 and really stands out on the road. A clear 9 out of 10. In terms of technology, the car does extremely well. The center screen is responsive and intuitive, the interface is clean, and it's packed with thoughtful features. Wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto driver profiles, camera views that actually work, and even a pet mode. It doesn't have a heads-up display, but it's hard to complain about much else. This deserves an 8.5. The driver assistance systems are also very competent. It's got level 2 features like lane keep and adaptive cruise control, and even allows automatic lane changes when you indicate. Something you don't always see in this price range. It could be better at adjusting speeds on rural road, but otherwise it performs quite well. It gets a 7. Finally, let's talk about the price. The premium version cost around 47,900 euros, putting it in the same range as the Volvo EX30, maybe the Mercedes EQA, and even more affordable EVs like maybe the BYD Atto 3. So it's not the cheapest in terms of raw value. It might not win every competition, but it offers something unique in terms of character, quality, and overall driving experience. For the price, it scores a 6. That brings the final score of the Smart #3 in our electroexam to 71 points, a very respectable result. As always, you can adjust the category weighting and compare this car with others that we've tested on our website. We'll link to that in the description below. I really like the Smart #3, and it's a car I can absolutely recommend. It looks fantastic, stylish and modern, and generally different from everything else out there. It's fun and comfortable to drive, with quick acceleration and a sporty, refined feel, and of course, it's got one-pedal driving. The tech as well is excellent. Thoughtful features, good software, and everything works the way you expect it to. And to be honest, it's just really nice to have a well-built, well-thought-out car that dares to be a little bit different. That's it for the electroexam. See you in the next one.